It was almost midnight when Daniel realized he was completely alone at the station. Not almost empty, actually alone. No workers behind the ticket counter, no security guards, no passengers waiting near the tracks. Just him sitting beneath flickering fluorescent lights while rain hammered against the old station windows outside. The station itself sat on the edge of a small industrial town in northern Pennsylvania. Old brick walls, rusted metal benches, half the overhead lights barely working. Daniel hated using that station at night. But his car had broken down earlier that week, and after another 12-hour warehouse shift, the train was his only option home. The last train usually arrived at 11:47 p.m. By 11:55, nothing had come. His phone battery sat at 3%, no signal. And the station somehow felt quieter every minute, too quiet. That's when he noticed the old woman across the platform. Daniel swore she hadn't been there earlier. 1 second the bench was empty, then suddenly she sat there motionless beneath the dim lights. Grey coat, black gloves. Face partially hidden beneath a hood, just staring down toward the tracks. He remembered thinking maybe she arrived while he was checking his phone, but something about her felt wrong immediately, because she hadn't moved once, not even slightly. The digital station clock buzzed overhead. 11:58 p.m. Then finally, Daniel heard the train coming, a low metallic rumble somewhere far down the tracks. Relief hit him instantly, until the old woman spoke without looking at him, without moving. "You shouldn't get on this one." Daniel frowned slightly. "What?" Her voice sounded dry, weak, like someone who hadn't spoken in years. "The last train doesn't stop completely." A cold feeling spread through his chest. Daniel forced a nervous laugh. "What does that mean?" The woman finally turned her head toward him, and for one horrible second, he realized her eyes looked completely white. No pupils, no color, just pale white eyes staring directly into him. "It takes people." The lights above the station flickered hard. Then the train burst from the darkness, screaming metal, blinding headlights, too fast, way too fast. Daniel stood quickly expecting the train to slow, but it didn't. The massive black locomotive roared toward the station at nearly full speed. The brakes screamed against the tracks. Sparks exploded beneath the wheels, but the train never fully stopped. It only slowed enough for the doors to slide open briefly while the cars continued rolling past the platform. Daniel stepped backward instinctively. Every window on the train looked dark, completely black, no passengers visible inside, and yet he could hear whispering from within the cars as they passed. Hundreds of voices muttering softly together. The old woman stood suddenly beside him, much closer now. "You hear them too?" Daniel turned toward her and almost collapsed from fear. Her hood had shifted back slightly. The left side of her face looked burned black, like charred flesh. Her white eyes locked onto him. "Don't let it see you alone." The train doors slid open directly in front of them. Inside the car, every seat was occupied, but none of the passengers moved. All of them sat perfectly still with their heads lowered, not one face visible. The whispers grew louder instantly. Daniel stepped backward again. Something deep inside him screamed not to board that train. Then one of the passengers slowly lifted its head. Its face looked wrong. Skin stretched too tightly across bone, dark empty eye sockets, mouth hanging slightly open. And then every passenger inside the car turned toward Daniel at the exact same moment. The whispers stopped. Silence. Then all of them smiled together. The train suddenly lurched violently. The doors remained open, waiting. The old woman whispered beside him, "It wants another one." Then from somewhere farther down the platform, Daniel heard footsteps running toward the train. A young man in business clothes sprinted down the station stairs holding a briefcase, completely unaware. "Wait, hold the door," Daniel tried shouting. "Tell him not to, too late." The man jumped through the open train doors just as the cars started accelerating again. And the second his feet touched the floor inside, every passenger rushed him at once. The doors slammed shut instantly. The man's scream echoed through the station, then abruptly cut off. The train disappeared into the darkness seconds later. Gone, silence returned. Daniel stood frozen, unable to breathe. The old woman slowly sat back down on the bench, then quietly said, "It's hungry tonight." Daniel turned toward her shakily. "What was that?" The woman stared toward the empty tracks. The 11:47. Rain hammered the station roof overhead. Then finally, she whispered something that made Daniel's blood run cold. It hasn't been an active train line since 1962. Maya worked the overnight cleaning shift at Blackridge Station for almost 4 years before she ever heard about Platform 6. According to the official station map, it didn't exist. There were only 5 platforms, everyone knew that. Tourists got confused constantly because the station's underground layout looked like a maze built beneath the city sometime in the 1940s. Long concrete tunnels, old pipes running along damp ceilings. Flickering fluorescent lights that buzzed endlessly through the night, but no Platform 6, at least officially. The first time Maya heard the rumors was from a security guard named Ellis during one of their smoke breaks around 2 am. He casually asked, "You ever seen the 6th staircase?" Maya laughed immediately. "There is no 6th platform." Ellis didn't smile back. "That's what people say." Rain echoed faintly through the vents overhead while trains rumbled somewhere deep underground. Maya noticed Ellis looked genuinely uncomfortable, like he regretted bringing it up. Then he quietly added, "If you ever see signs pointing toward Platform 6, don't follow them." That was the end of the conversation, at least for a while, but after that night Maya started noticing strange things, small things at first. An extra platform sign hanging where it shouldn't be. A flickering arrow pointing toward tunnels that didn't exist yesterday. Train arrival schedules briefly displaying Platform 6 arriving 3:13 am before glitching away seconds later. She assumed the station systems were malfunctioning. Blackridge was ancient. Half the electrical wiring looked older than her grandparents, but then people started disappearing. Not publicly, no police investigations, no news stories, just little things workers quietly noticed. A homeless man who slept near Platform 2 every night suddenly gone. A teenage tourist last seen asking for directions underground. A maintenance worker who never clocked out after his shift, and every time somebody vanished. Someone else claimed they'd seen signs for Platform 6 earlier that night. Maya tried ignoring it, until the night she saw the staircase herself. It happened during her shift just after 3 am. The station sat nearly empty except for a few exhausted commuters waiting for the first morning trains. Maya pushed her cleaning cart through one of the lower tunnels when suddenly the overhead lights flickered hard. Then half the tunnel went dark. She cursed quietly and grabbed her flashlight. That's when she noticed the sign, Platform 6 down arrow. A white arrow pointed toward a narrow staircase at the far end of the tunnel. Maya stopped completely because she'd worked there for years, and that staircase had never existed before. The concrete steps descended deep underground into darkness. Old yellow lights glowed faintly below. And somewhere far down beneath the station, she heard a train arriving, metal grinding against tracks, slow, heavy. Maya should have walked away. Every instinct told her to leave. Instead, she started descending the stairs. Even now, I don't think she fully understands why. People later described it like a feeling. Like the station itself wanted you to keep walking. The deeper she went, the older everything looked. The clean tiled walls disappeared. Now the tunnels looked ancient, wet concrete, rust, water dripping from pipes overhead. The air smelled rotten, and eventually she reached the platform. Platform 6 looked abandoned for decades. Dust covered the benches. The overhead lights flickered weakly. Old advertisements peeled from the walls dating back to the 1950s. But the strangest thing, there were people waiting there, dozens of them, standing silently near the tracks, all wearing outdated clothing, old coats, old hats, styles from completely different decades, and every single person stood perfectly still facing the tunnel, waiting for something to arrive. Maya slowly backed away. Something felt deeply wrong. Then one of the passengers turned toward her. an old man with pale grey skin and dark hollow eyes. He smiled slightly. "You're early." The train lights appeared deep inside the tunnel immediately after he spoke. A massive train slowly emerged from the darkness. Black metal, no visible number, no station markings, and every window looked pitch black. The train stopped silently beside the platform. The doors slid open. Nobody got off. Nobody moved. The waiting passengers simply stepped forward together in complete silence and boarded one by one. Maya noticed something horrifying then. Some passengers looked normal, others looked wrong, skin pale and stretched tightly across their faces, eyes clouded white. Mouths hanging open slightly like corpses trying to remember how to breathe. The old man gestured toward the open doors. "Aren't you getting on?" Maya backed away immediately. No, the smile disappeared from his face instantly. Then every passenger on the platform slowly turned toward her at the exact same moment. The train lights flickered hard overhead, and suddenly Maya realized something worse. There were no train tracks beneath the platform, only darkness, endless black space beneath the train. As if the entire station floated over some massive empty void, the doors remained open, waiting. Then a voice spoke softly behind her, "Don't let them close." Maya spun around. A little girl stood near one of the benches clutching an old stuffed rabbit, maybe 8 years old. Pale skin, tears running down her face. They don't come back after the doors close. The passengers started walking toward Maya slowly, not fast, not rushing, just calmly surrounding her. The old man smiled wider. "The next stop is permanent." Then the station lights went out completely. Darkness swallowed everything underground, and somewhere inside the blackness around Maya, hundreds of passengers started whispering together. When the station lights died, Maya couldn't see anything anymore, not the platform, not the passengers, not even her own hands, only darkness and the whispering. Hundreds of voices surrounding her somewhere inside the black, soft, wet, overlapping each other, some crying, some laughing quietly, others repeating things she couldn't fully understand. The air underground suddenly felt colder, not normal cold, dead cold, the kind that sinks into your chest and stays there. Maya backed away blindly until her shoulder slammed against one of the concrete pillars. The little girl's voice came again somewhere nearby. "Don't let them touch you." Then the train horn screamed. The sound exploded through the underground tunnels violently enough to shake the walls. And suddenly the emergency lights flickered on dimly overhead. Red lighting flooded platform 6. What Maya saw then haunted her for the rest of her life. The passengers surrounding her no longer looked human, not completely. Their bodies seemed wrong under the red lights, too thin, too stiff. Faces stretched unnaturally long. Some looked burned, others looked drowned. One woman's jaw hung completely detached while she smiled at Maya with empty black gums, and every single one of them slowly moved closer together. The old man stood nearest to her now, his hollow eyes fixed directly on her face. "You came down here alone." The train doors behind him remained open. Inside the train, people sat motionless in every seat, hundreds of them, pale faces barely visible through the darkness. Watching, waiting, Maya turned and ran. The second she moved, the passengers screamed together, not angry screams, hungry screams. The sound echoed violently through the underground tunnels while Maya sprinted across the platform toward the staircase. Behind her, she heard footsteps immediately, dozens of them, then hundreds, the entire platform chasing her at once. She reached the stairs and started climbing desperately. The lights overhead flickered harder with every step. Below her, the screams grew louder, closer. The station itself almost felt alive now. The walls vibrated softly around her like something enormous moved deep beneath the concrete. Then halfway up the staircase, she heard the little girl again, right beside her ear. "They know your name now." Maya turned sharply. The girl stood only inches away holding the stuffed rabbit, but now Maya could finally see her clearly. The child's clothes looked old, 1940s maybe. And across the front of her dress, dark blood stains spread from her stomach downward. The girl whispered softly, "I missed my train too." Then suddenly the child was gone. The lights exploded above Maya, showering sparks through the stairwell. Darkness swallowed everything again, but now another sound echoed beneath the station. A voice, deep, massive, not human. It sounded like something speaking through miles of tunnels underground. The entire station trembled violently, and every passenger below began screaming in terror, not at Maya, at whatever was waking up beneath the tracks. Then the old man shouted from below, "Get her on the train." The footsteps became frantic instantly. Maya kept climbing blindly through darkness until finally she saw light above her, the main station level. She burst from the staircase, gasping for air, and collapsed onto the tiled floor of the tunnel. The normal station lights still worked upstairs. Commuters walked nearby completely unaware. Nobody screaming, nobody running, like nothing was happening below them. Maya spun around toward the staircase entrance. Gone. There was no platform 6 sign anymore, no stairs, only a concrete wall. A businessman walking past stopped briefly. "You okay?" Maya couldn't answer, because beneath the station floor she still heard the train horn, far below, waiting. The next morning Maya quit immediately. She never returned to Blackridge Station again, but over the following months she became obsessed with researching the place, and eventually she found something horrifying. In 1949, a train derailment occurred during construction beneath Blackridge Station. Officially, 31 workers died underground after part of the tunnel system collapsed. Unofficially, survivors claimed they heard another train beneath the rubble after the collapse, one that didn't exist on any railway map. Workers reported voices calling to them from deep below the station, and rescue teams later discovered something impossible: additional bodies underground, passengers wearing clothing from completely different decades. People who were never reported missing. The tunnels where they found them were sealed permanently afterward, or at least that's what the city claimed. 3 weeks after Maya quit, Ellis, the security guard who warned her, vanished during his overnight shift. Security cameras captured him walking through Tunnel C at exactly 3:13 a.m. Then all cameras on that level shut off simultaneously. When they finally came back online, Ellis was gone. The only thing left behind was his flashlight, and beside it, someone had written 2 words on the wall in fresh dust: "Next arrival." To this day, commuters at Blackridge Station still report strange things late at night. Extra train announcements, voices beneath empty platforms, signs briefly appearing for Platform 6 before vanishing again, and sometimes around 3:13 a.m., passengers waiting alone claim they hear a train arriving beneath the station. Even though no tracks officially exist there anymore, Maya refuses to use underground stations now. She takes buses everywhere, walks whenever she can, but every once in a while, usually late at night, her phone vibrates with emergency transit alerts. Unknown line, arrival delayed, no sender, no number. And attached to the message every single time is the same image: a black train waiting underground with its doors already open, like it's still expecting her to come back. If you are new here, subscribe to Tales of the Dark, where every story gives you a nightmare.